Woo! Happy July 26th, Delaware County. Tonight we have some sort of literature that we're going to talk about. A nice little deviation from our usual dick and fart jokes. We'll tell you about our sponsors in a minute, but we got to let you know that you got 4 days left to vote for Best of Delco, and that includes us. There are all your favorite, restaurants in there, your fitness centers, whatever they are in there, whatever you got to do, your clubs, whatever you're part of, but definitely make sure for Best Comedy Show, us, Best Day Out, Delco Day. Other than that, surprise us. But we've got with us a local author who put together a book that it spans multiple decades, all based around the tri-state area, including Delaware County. And we're going to hear from him. You are Kevin Sommerer.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Kevin?
I'm from South Philly. I'm born and raised down there. Been a mailman there for 20 years.
In South Philly?
Yeah. But I bought my house out here in Delaware County about 10 years ago.
Why?
I've been out here since about 2011.
Why'd you come to Delaware County?
My ex was from Delaware County, so
he
brought me out here.
He's trying to do like the English thing and trying to breed us out. What part of Delaware County?
I live in Boothwyn right now. I've been there for about 10 years, but I lived in Wallingford before that.
I love that you use Delaware County instead of Delco, because Boothwyn is Delaware County and not Delco. Where was the one you said? Wallingford?
Wallingford.
Ragingly Delco. Were you in Garden City in Wallingford?
I was on Rose Valley Road, West Rose Valley.
Okay.
2 minutes from State Street, really.
Okay, cool.
That was pretty cool. It was cool living there, being close to State Street.
Absolutely.
Stuff. Now I got to drive far for everywhere I want to go now. I'm out in Boothwyn.
So you wrote a book. Is this your first book?
That's my first published novel, yeah.
So this book is called, the full title is Mason's Philly, Discreet Denial.
The original title, I wrote this book like 20 years ago. I mean, I started it back in the 90s. And the original title was just Discreet Denial. And, I had some interest like back then. I had an agent and we were marketing it in New York and stuff. And it was like HarperCollins. It was a couple other places interested. And the 9/11 happened. Everything pretty much went to hell in New York. Publishing industry went down.
Do you think that's because of 9/11 or just because of take over the internet?
Well, it was like right around 2001 when everything, when I finished the book and we were shopping it, and then pretty much my agent got sick at that point. A little bit after 9/11, the industry was done, and I got this job at the post office, and 20 years disappeared.
So wait, were you in like the writing industry before you went to the post office?
I was an English major at school at Temple.
Oh,
and
I too went to Temple.
Yeah, so I was trying to write this book, publish this book, and all this. So we were working on it, and 20 years disappeared. And my son, who's in advertising, he's like, "Well, it's a decent title. I always loved the title, Discreet Denial. It's great, but you're never going to sell it in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're going to be on Instagram and you're going to be on social media, you got to put something with Philly in there." So we're like, "Well, the detective's name is Mason.
It's not."
So you should just call it like Mason's Philly, and then the subtitle will be Discreet Denial.
First move, this is your first like stab at getting into the limelight, right?
That's my first book, yeah.
I can just tell you from previous guests we've had that have done things like this, including like us and including the other ventures Al's had, it is actually smart at first to go grassroots with your local scene, because like you're not going to win over like Omaha, Nebraska your first try. It reminds me almost similar. We had a guest for a movie recently. It was called Last Call. Came out. It was a guy from Bonner. The movie is about someone moving from Upper Darby to all the way to Rittenhouse Square and selling out and coming back to save the community. And it really makes no sense let's just start with the movie. Actually makes no sense in general, but it would make less sense to anyone out of the area. But the thing is, he wanted to include the local people, not because it was cheap, not because it was like doable. He did it because that niche market will start. Then you can go and say, we've already, won here. Maybe we can branch out. The Beatles did that too. Their first 100 shows were literally all at the same venue in like London. And then they're like, well, you can move us out to other parts of England. Then it was, you move out of England to fucking France. And then all of a sudden you're in America. And then all of a sudden you're taking over the world. And all of a sudden you're getting shot by a crazy person holding a copy of Catcher in the Rye. The usual. The huge.
Well, I mean, I think it made total sense to me to market it to the people I grew up with, and on Facebook and that kind of thing, because that's who's going to buy it initially.
Yeah, you get your initial friends and family.
Yeah. So I said, let me market it to the people from high school and all these high school groups and all these neighborhood groups that we're on. And there's a lot of South Philly stuff in there. I mean, all the restaurants we grew up with, a lot of traditions we had growing up, like things that happened over the 70s, 80s, 90s. When we were growing up, there was a lot of, for example, we used to paint the telephone poles red, white, and blue in the 70s for the bicentennial. So people remember that. My generation, we did it as kids. Like all the poles were painted, things like that, or like traditions for Lent, like just different things that I knew would catch the local reader.
Nostalgia. It's always nostalgic,
and that's what it is. It's like a trip down memory lane, and it's a nostalgic trip, really.
I mean, it's like anything, like oh, they said my name on the news, or they said the town I live in on the news. Yeah. Like, people get excited about it. It's a very smart idea, and especially this day and age.
This market actually is like, it's actually sellable at this point too. Like, it's always like, New York, LA, and then sometimes Chicago or whatnot. I mean, there's the one channel that literally has 3 Chicago shows in a row. Philadelphia is getting some love recently. You got Mayor of Easttown won awards, got all that, and that's just based out of Wallingford, things like that. Always Sunny is in its 18th season.
Yeah, and they're finally coming back to Philly, I think, for this one.
Okay,
because they were in LA.
It makes sense. They film it out there.
Yeah, of course. Like everything's on a soundstage in there, but they do they come take their B-reel out here and then run it there. But apparently, it's coming back to Philly for this season or something along those lines.
This city, this tri-state area, it's like all the places around here is finally getting a little bit of love. So people would like that.
Well, that's why I put the book out now when I did.
Okay.
I mean, it's sat, like I said, from 2001 until the Eagles won the Super Bowl, really.
Now, why did it sit there for 17 years?
Well, I got the job at the post office. Life unfolded, and things happen, and you just kind of forget about it. Like after I had that initial, like where I hit that initial wall where things didn't work out with the publishing.
In 2001, was this book completely finished?
It was. I had a finished version.
Okay.
So yes, it was finished. The one that I was marketing then was finished, but when the Eagles won in 2018. He actually predicts it in the book too. 20 years ago, he predicts 20 years the Eagles will win the Super Bowl. But anyway, at this point, I had tinkered with the book off and on over the last decade or decade and a half, but I never really sat down and said, "Let me put this book out." But when the Eagles won, I says, "Philadelphia is hot.
Yeah,
the sports scene's hot. The restaurant scene's hot. The real estate scene's hot. Now's the time to." To get this book out, if I'm ever going to get it out, I mean, I'm going to die soon. I want people to read it.
I say that every day.
We tell Holbrook that on a daily basis.
Yeah, I got to get this book out before I drop dead.
Mainly after meals for Holbrook. But real quick, before we because we're going to talk about the book itself and break it down a little bit. Real quick, I want to thank our awesome sponsors over at Fat Cow Jerky. Check them out at fatcowjerky.com, Facebook, Instagram. All these delicious flavors because there's a lot of people treats. But they're about to drop a line of canine cuts. That's right. They got doggy treats coming right now for you. Beef liver and chicken are flavors that are be coming out shortly. Check them out at fatcowjerky.com. Don't forget Dolan's Bar, the Most Delco Bar. We're going to have a little bit more information on them coming days, but they're going to have a whole new menu. They're bringing Wolf's to Ridley. Wolf's Superior Sandwiches. They're going to have a part of their menu coming here, and I can hint 2 things. The Gritty and the Pickle Rick will be over at Dolan's at one point very shortly. So if you have not had one, you'll be getting there. And for all you scumbags out there, you need a criminal law specialist. David R. Cherry's your man, 610-565-0300. But also if you get hurt at work, workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, as well as I said, criminal law.
He's really good. My ankle monitor is so discreet thanks to his arguing. Magistrate.
He's the best. CherryInjuryLaw.com. Tell Dave we sang it. And coming up real soon, the Delco Masters 4th annual, might I add, Delco Masters at the Pup Hut in Clifton Heights will be held. You can go to delcolive.com, sign up for it, and it will be followed by a 2-hour open bar at the Delco Cup in Springfield right down the street. So it's going to be a great time and win that illustrious green jacket.
Is it green?
Green flannel. Actually, it should be in today, actually. I just had it ordered.
Excellent.
So, and don't forget, it's coming in a year.
328 days.
Yes. Delco Day 8. So tell me, just give us a brief introduction about this book.
Oh, I got it out.
Well, I want him to.
I want to read the description.
You want to go
through it?
Yeah.
Oh
All right.
yeah, that's a good description.
So we're back with
Agreed.
Kevin Sommerer, the author of Mason's Philly, Discreet Denial. Any ghostwriters? It's you, Raw
Just me,
Dog.
I wrote every word.
And you said this is your first ever take at writing. Your only ever take at writing. This is your Appetite for Destruction. This is your Funky Van Halen
it's
one.
my first one. I have a couple new projects in the works, but that's my first one that's ready and done and out there.
So is that what it's like once you do one, you want to do more? Is that how?
I had others in the works for years. I mean, because I've always loved to write, but I feel like once now this one's out, and I found out how easy it was and how successful it was once it's finished.
Okay,
I want to definitely do more stuff.
You can find this on Amazon. Kindle is $7. Paperback is $15. It's 302 pages. I just went through it. I didn't speed read it. It carries a over 4.5 star review out of 83 reviews. You can buy it used for $8.05, you cheapskates.
Yeah.
And here's the description. It's a lengthy one. It's girthy, but it's thorough. It really hits the right spots. Description. Philly's best Italian bread? With or without? Why do we really call it gravy, not sauce? Gumshoe and cheesesteak connoisseur Mason Hall has all the answers. I'm just going to jump in after every thing. Mason Hall, is that a play on words? Is that a shout out to anyone?
It's not, no. Actually, his parents...
It's not Perry Mason and something Hall?
No, his parents actually met at the Mason Hall in South Philly when he was, when they were dating, and that's where they met. And his last name was Hall, and they just named the son Mason.
That's in the story?
It's not actually in the story, but it's going to be in the second book.
All right.
So that was one of my questions. So this he's going to be a recurring character in like a Jack Reacher type,
right? And I started the second book. Yes.
Is Mason Hall loosely based on yourself, your own experiences?
He's based on a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's based on Spencer for Hire, actually, the most, or one of those old Bogart Big Sleep characters, as far as the detective character. But he's based on just people I knew growing up, and
Is Mason Hall in the Philadelphia Police?
He's not. No.
Oh, he's a private eye.
He's a private eye.
Oh,
private dick. We call him a private dick.
He's a dick.
I think he's the guy I always wanted to be, the guy with the fancy car who's got the beautiful hot chick, and
he has a car in Philadelphia. That's psychopathic.
Really cool, and I always wanted to be this cool dude, and we all did. We all wanted to be somebody tough.
Is it funny that the most fictional part of what he just said is that the fact he's a car in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
He has a parking pad. You know what I mean?
I mean, I said I wasn't going to get angry on this episode, but I got to just because I'm boiling from the previous episode or 2 episodes ago. Mm-hmm. What's the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia?
It's John's roast pork.
Fine, that's a great answer. That's a damn fine answer. How do you get your cheesesteak? How do you have it served?
I get it provolone and fried onions, and if you go to John's, I like to get roasted peppers on it. They actually used to have best homemade roasted peppers, but they stopped with that.
You're not a psychopath.
Mild provolone, fried onions.
I'm reading your book now.
And seeded Italian bread.
I knew I liked you.
We just had a guy who was in this area who's reviewed 1,030 cheesesteaks, and that's very novel and cool and absolutely great. And then I was like, "What's your criterion?" He says it's the cheesesteak, but with lettuce, tomato, mushrooms, and all these things. And if you don't have good lettuce, tomato, and mushrooms, he docks you points and also throws in personal things. And I'm like, it's like you ate 1,030 cheesesteaks wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he said in his defense, he said that he started and it could have been 400 or 500. I don't know exactly how many, but he started with doing it his way, the way he liked it, which is not the average way. And I'm saying, if you're reviewing anything, as I worked in the restaurant business in my life, if I make a plate, I want the owners to try to see if we want to put it on the menu. Don't grab a ton of salt or pepper and try it for what it is. Yeah. That's what you're supposed to do. So if you're telling me cheesesteaks, take it for what it is, a cheese and steak, a hot dog. You're not going to throw sauerkraut on it maybe right away, because that's not how everybody takes it.
And me and him were polar opposites on every single.
It was actually kind of funny sitting back here watching the two go back and forth of how
he gave John's a terrible review. He gave Phillips, he said, it's one of the worst cheesesteaks ever. He trashed Mike and Emma's, and then I'm just like, I threw in this one place, Del Rossi's, terrible cheesesteak. He said it's one of the best, and I was like, dude,
I
see eye to
I
eye.
think your exact word was you threw it out the window, a bird ate it, and you felt bad for the bird.
Yes, yes.
Poor bird.
Poor bird.
So without me, just getting angry. So then it turns into join Mason Hall as he teams up with his spirited and vehement wife, Stevie. Stevie's the name of the wife.
Stevie's name of the wife.
To find an old pal gone missing. Discreet Denial is a pre-millennium journey through Philadelphia's mob underworld, thriving drug culture, and flamboyant gay districts. Spicy. So, like you said, this started. Like I read it into it. This takes place around 1998.
It takes place in 98, but a lot of the flashbacks go back to the 60s, 70s, 80s,
Okay.
and all through the 90s.
And so it's the Philly mob underworld, like the Joey Merlino era of like 1998.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, I guess.
Is it fictional? Like with that
fictional
concept?
story. I mean, the characters are all fictional.
Is any of the scenarios loosely based on any reality, like stuff that people would have known about, like in the news?
I don't think so. I think it's mostly all my fantasy or all my imagination. I mean, a couple of the characters are based on, friends of mine, or a couple of the main characters are based on
Are any of the
things that happened to a friend of mine or a couple of friends of mine. But
have you had friends go, I read the book and this guy, your girl, did that, and I feel like you're talking about me, and I'm a little offended by this.
Nobody actually said it, but right in my dedications, I write in there, like, if I had to list everybody to thank, it would be
another
longer than the book. I said, so
book.
you all have like a little slice of something in here.
Okay.
Do you accidentally, inadvertently out anyone with the flamboyant gay district part?
I have to keep that a secret, I think, for the person. We might get more into that later in the interview if it happens to come up, but I have to keep that part, I think, exactly who it is, kind of secret. Also, I don't want to ruin the book. So I don't want to give too much away.
Does that have a lot to do with it? You're not just talking about the notable neighborhood. There's actually has a lot to do with the actual story itself. You're not just talking about the area. You're talking. It has a lot to do with what's going on in the
part of the case has to do with that area and that
I frequent the neighborhood. Yeah. It's a cool place.
It's fun.
Was the neighborhood the same area back then, like in like around like 12th Street and 12th North?
It was. I think it was the same. Actually, there's a great scene in here. Mason's in the gay bar.
Okay,
like a straight '90s tough guy,
boxers,
gangster type of dude, showing up with all these tough guys. He has to go undercover and like play gay and try to pick up gay dudes, and he's falling over himself.
When was it known as the neighborhood? Like, when did people really start telling, hey, this is the neighborhood? I mean, you can go on a Google map and it'll say neighborhood.
Yeah, it was like that in the 90s because I worked there in the early 90s in that area, like Broad and Locust area. And a lot of the book takes place right around Broad and Locust and stuff. I worked there, and we called it the neighborhood then, so that was 30 40 years ago. I don't know.
I mean, they got the pride flags on the street poles now.
Yeah, everything.
It'll say like Locust pride flag.
Yeah, it's a lot more open now. Philly's real liberal and real open like that. So I guess in the 90s, and part of the issue here with this character, I don't know how much I should really say to give things away, but it's a lot easier now for a guy to come out in 2020s than it would be, for example, in some South Philly guy in 1995 or something.
Sure, absolutely.
So that's some of the struggle and some of the issues that the one character has in particular. But I don't know. That's all I should probably say about that.
As Mason struggles through his maze where friends are enemies, loyal associates are branded, the guilty are innocent, and reputations don't always speak for themselves, a potentially more important battle is brewing. The occupation that drives him is tearing his marriage apart, and Stevie is slipping further and further away. Using every trick in his bag, any smart remark he can think of, even a cannoli bribe, all while looking death in the face, Mason now must realize the one person he's hurt the most is the only person he can depend on. Probably Stevie, the wife.
So the dynamic between him and Stevie is a big part of the story.
Yeah, it's a mystery, but it's partly romance too. He's trying to get his wife back. I mean, he ruined things with his wife.
Touches a little bit for everything. You have the romance for people want that. You have the action, the mystery, all that behind it, and like we said before, a lot of nostalgia.
Right, like all us guys do something dumb, and you like you ruin
I
shit
mean,
with the
on
girl
a
you
daily
love.
basis, I can
Right,
say
like you
that.
do something dumb,
Hourly from it.
and he did dumb things, and his wife's pissed, and they're separated, but he really loves her, and he wants to get her back. And
Is the twist that he actually leaves her and ends up with a gay guy in the neighborhood?
no, he doesn't end up with a gay guy.
You can have
He
it.
actually
Yeah.
he undercovered. He actually really enjoyed it.
That's the sequel.
Yeah.
He said, "I just throated dick and I loved it, Stevie."
Poor Stevie.
Num 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 num. Marlowe's hard-boiled wisecrackery, Spade's mischievous determination, and Spencer's tough guy romanticism, all in one unique detective. Mason's Philly, circa 1998, brings a distinct Philadelphia flavor and zing that can only be seen through the author's eyes. The history lessons, decor, sports memories, flashback tours, even signature foods and restaurants from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s will satisfy everyone's craving for the old world style South Philadelphia Philly as readers hungry for nostalgia relive the neighborhoods, jargon, and traditions of Mason's contemporaries and his youth. You can almost taste the fresh mozzarella and smell the gravy cooking.
So, question: who writes that? Is that Amazon? Is that your?
I wrote that.
So you wrote that?
Mine,
Okay.
yeah. That's all my words, and
I
everything's
always kind of
through
wondered
me.
that, like, how does the
Yeah.
publisher write it for you? Does Amazon have their people?
I think years ago, when you if I would have got this published in 2001 or whatever that was, I mean, they would have wrote it for you.
Yeah,
the company, because
Sure.
they have their own marketing ideas and what they want to do. But when you self-publish with Amazon or anybody, I guess it's all you. They do very little.
Now, with the difference between the time that you were trying to get this to go through versus now, I mean, it's the digital age. I mean, like, how many? I mean, you don't have to tell me exactly how many copies you sold, but like percentage-wise, how much is digital versus paperback? Like,
I sold right now in just these first few months over 1,200 copies.
oh wow!
And it's mostly all local.
Mhm.
I didn't check the chart. There is a chart on Amazon, so you can see what's paperback and what's Kindle.
Mhm.
I didn't check it recently, but it was about 50-50 when
Okay.
I checked it like a couple months ago, probably to see,
Mhm.
probably like around early June. I checked it, and it was around 50-50.
Now, I know somebody else who wrote a book, and they told me some of the stuff they do, and I guess they work with a publishing company that does it, helps them, but like getting it into local stores. I mean, there's no more real Borders or Barnes and Nobles or anything like that anymore. There's a little nostalgia for you, but like trying to get it into local bookstores in the area, maybe down like even like down the shore where some small bookstores still exist because people buy them to sit on the beach and read. Do you have to do that yourself? Or
Yeah, pretty much. And what I did is I went in a lot of bookstores in the neighborhood when when the book first came out. Luckily, it was right before Christmas. I did time it nicely, so it was out right before Christmas. So I went in a lot of bookstores. Couple on Passyunk Avenue, a Novel Idea had them. The 9th Street Italian Market Festival store, their location had it. I went to a couple bookstores in town.
And what do they do? They go, I'll buy a case of books. I'll buy 2
No,
cases.
I give it to them. I buy my own cases. You know, I buy them like 100 at a time. And I bring them in a dozen books.
Yeah.
And they put it in the store. And I give them, when I buy it myself, I keep Amazon's profit for myself too. I have to pay for the printing of the book.
So they pay for whatever the
So when I go into a
is.
bookstore, I say, look, I'll give you Amazon's profit. So Amazon keeps about like $350, $375, and I keep about the same $350, $375 per book, whatever.
Okay.
So I just offer the bookstore, hey, I'll give you $4 per book.
Okay.
And I'll keep the other $3 or whatever.
Gotcha.
Because it's not about the money. It's
I get that. I just always kind of wondered like how different it is because, like you said, you sat on something for what 20 years. You said almost. Right. And how much did you work on it before, like to 2001 when you're ready to release it? How long did you work on it before then?
I finished it in 18 months.
Okay.
But that was like I was like being a prolific writer. All my spare time was just writing.
Okay.
I would come home from work, write, and whatever. And so I did that in like 18 months. Then I revised it. I tinkered with it like over another maybe 6 months or so. And then I didn't do much since.
Okay.
And once, like I said, around 2018, I says, what am I going to do to really get this book out?
Mm-hmm.
So I took the story. Originally, it was a detective story set in South Philly. Now it became like a Philadelphia detective story. So I just pumped everything up. I pumped up the cheesesteak. I pumped up the Italian market, the history of like Ralph's restaurant, like the
Where's
oldest,
Ralph's? Where was Ralph's? Is Ralph's still open?
It's still open, yeah. It's the oldest Italian restaurant in the
America.
city.
Just say
or
America.
maybe America. I think it is
say
America.
the world. Say the world. It's the
universe.
oldest Italian restaurant in the world.
Oh, not the world.
The
Italy's
entire world.
older than we are.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think Italy might have beat them.
Yeah, Italy might have beat them.
That would just be a restaurant in Italy. It's not an Italian restaurant.
Well, wouldn't that be any restaurant in Italy? Like,
what do you call Irish breakfast in Ireland? It's called breakfast.
Would a McDonald's in Italy be considered an Italian restaurant? Because it's a restaurant in Italy.
Yes.
No, it would not be.
Yes.
No, but I'm just saying because it's in Italy.
Right.
Yes.
By default, it's technically an Italian
They
restaurant.
probably sell mozzarella sticks in a McDonald's in Italy or somewhere.
What do they call Polish music in Poland? They just call it music.
What do they call Chinese food in China? Food, yes. Just food.
So what did you do to Ellen Nucifero?
I don't know who that is. Is that the 1-star person? That
She gave you 3, but it's the lowest one you can get a review for. She said, quote,
what did she
don't
say?
care for it at all.
I don't know. I mean,
That
maybe
spicy bitch.
Maybe she didn't like the gay thing. Maybe I don't know who she is. Then I said maybe like I dated her or something one time and she was trying to like be spiteful. I don't know who Ellen is. I mean, I would love to chat with her and hear what she has to say. So,
Yeah,
if she wants to email me.
We used to say that. We used to want to hear what our people who
I don't whatever.
Us. At this point, I'm like, whatever.
I got like one bad review. I mean, one person gave me a 1-star, but they didn't say any words about it, and everybody else was like 3
to me,
or 4
that doesn't
or 5
count,
stars.
especially when if you're reviewing anything but a book. Because we go like one of our bits on our shows, we go through Amazon reviews or like crazy items you could buy on Amazon that you never knew existed. But like my thing is if you're going to go on there and put anything from 3 stars or down, you should have to put like they should force you. We will not put your review up unless you write, at least 50 words or 50 characters.
And I'm like, who even would give you 1 star?
Ellen reviews a lot of things. She has a very lengthy review history.
Are you on Goodreads or on Amazon?
No, this is Ellen's just entire history of reviews of everything she's ever bought. She returned a popcorn tin because dented tin. She loves the word crappy. Her favorite word is crappy, just like her crappy attitude. Cannot return because it's food, but the tin is dented and crappy. Then we go down to sunglasses. Crappy dollar store worthy. Definitely not worth the money. Dollar store crappy quality. This is not a joke. This is wood seasoning bee wax. Not what I expected. It's rather crappy in my opinion.
Hold on.
My book wasn't crappy.
Right below it, this heater's not worth the money.
Yep. What's the title of it, Al?
The title is
Crappy. At least I didn't get the crappy heading in there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not Wuthering Heights or anything. It's just a fun.
Yeah.
It's just a fun guy going around with his buddies talking shit about the old days.
I always said, the old saying is there's no such thing as bad publicity. The fact that we're reading hers, well, Ellen's a bitch. Let's read this and find out how wrong she is.
Wrong she is.
We've learned that a lot of our success has come out of somebody trying to make us look bad, and it just blew up in their face.
Right.
And
look at Howard Stern. I mean, how much bad crap did he get said about him years ago? And he's like the biggest in the world, or whatever.
No, I mean,
the thing I read on Amazon is on the back of the book.
I was about to tell you that at the beginning when you were reading the article and the other article. So,
is there profanity in the book? I saw the word asshole at one point.
Oh, there's a lot of profanity.
Yes.
South Philly guys talking to each other. So,
does it get
big font too? It's big
There's
font.
a couple dirty scenes, but not a whole lot. I mean, it's not. I'm not trying to insult that.
Yeah, it's not 50 Shades of Grey over
now,
here.
my next, I do have a book coming out about online dating.
Yes.
I hope it's finished by the end of the year. That's going to be saucy.
It's called Don't Do
risque. That's going to be adult oriented, and it's going to have some bad shit in there. So.
Cybering, knuckle children on my keyboard.
It's going to be called. Well, I shouldn't say the title yet. Maybe I don't know.
Do it. So more vulgar, the better.
There's definitely a book coming out. This is not just you have one that's definitely.
I have a children's book coming out in a few weeks. Actually, I just finished the illustrations on Sunday.
So you illustrate too?
I don't, but that was my first attempt at illustration. I illustrate the front of this book, the car, and the people at the bottom.
You drew it.
I sold it. No, I had to buy
the Archer intro.
I had to buy the whole City Hall part and all that, but
You had
the
to buy it?
bottom,
You
yeah,
had to buy it.
I had to pay
Oh,
for that part.
It's what's it called?
I was say you
The
can just
copyrighted, like it's like the what's the
I was say you just could take a
the
picture of
website
it,
you
it's
use to get
yours.
all the pictures.
Well, I've looked at 100 pictures. I like that one, so I had to pay for that one. But the black characters at the bottom, the car, the Grand National, the two characters with the guns. That part I did myself, and the whole back I did myself.
Does Mason Hall actually drive a 1988 Buick Bomber?
It's an '86 Grand National, Buick Grand National,
So close, so close.
and that was
There's a guy
my
you
favorite
growing up
car
in.
as a kid.
So
So
close.
that's why I said this guy with the
As a
cool
guy I knew in
car.
the area, all he would do is soup up Grand Nationals and race them.
Yeah. I mean, that was always our favorite. Any guy my age, I think that was my favorite. Was our favorite car in the '80s. It was like like I think if Darth Vader drove a car on Earth, that's what he would drive.
Darth Vader
Like,
had money.
you know.
So let me ask this question. So this thing goes big, movie rights. Here comes a movie. Who's playing?
Well, I have letters written. I did not send them out yet. I'm
Send 'em.
sending a letter to Bradley Cooper with a free book. I want him to play Mason.
Okay.
He's from Philly.
Okay.
And I'm sending a letter and a free book to Kevin Bacon. I want him to play Huck, who's his detective friend, his
Okay.
Philadelphia Police Department detective friend.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the gangsters yet. I'm trying to find a really cool woman to be Stevie. I haven't found like a lot of really cool actress women, but I
So
heard
tell me, like, what's Stevie like? Is she sassy? Is she?
she's badass.
Okay. So she can fight. She can hold on
She's
and fight.
she's a black belt Gracie jiu-jitsu instructor.
How old is she?
She's about 36 in the
Carrie.
book.
Yeah.
You should have Carrie.
Yeah. We have a girl just for this.
Now, Lauren Cohen from The Walking Dead is from Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Close enough.
Okay.
And it's close enough, although she only lived there until she was like 6 or 8 years old, maybe 10.
Hey, Jennifer Aniston. She lives in Eddystone, right around the corner. You can get her.
Did she?
Aubrey Plaza
She
is
didn't
from
live around
Wilmington.
here.
Huh?
She
Aubrey,
lived around here?
she lived in Eddystone,
lived in
right around the
Eddystone.
corner. I think there was just a whole write up in one of the Delco websites about how they just sold her home she grew up in.
Really?
I mean, I think she moved out here at age 10 or 12.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
like
that'd work. I mean, I'm happy with that. I mean, if she has any kind of memory, I'm going to have to send her a free book then, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer
you know.
Aniston.
Aubrey Plaza is about mid-30s, and she's from Wilmington.
She's from Delaware, yeah.
The Kat Dennings is from Bryn Mawr.
Kat
She's
Denning
like
was on my
35.
list of the women. Yeah, I have a
Kat
list
Denning
in
is
my
so
book.
Delco hot, it's not even
Who's from
funny.
here? So Kat Denning was on my list.
Sherry O'Terry.
And she's funny too, Kat Denning. She's got a sense of humor about her. Like
Yeah.
Sherry Terry. Now that's my buddy's aunt.
We all know someone married to them.
I could send Will Smith a book, although the detective's white. I could alter
He
him.
might slap you.
Does
with
the white come into
I
play?
think he would play a good part for the detective. I would just have to alter the character slightly to make it,
Yeah.
Does the white
a black
come
guy
into
instead
play,
of a
like at
white
all,
guy.
or like is there
Stevie?
yeah?
She's in there a lot. She's one of the main characters.
No.
No,
I mean,
there's-
does like being white come into play in it?
Oh, no, not at all.
Oh, then it could be anyone.
Well, just, I mean,
M. Night Shyamalan.
right.
Make
Yeah.
him Indian.
Well, I'm going to send him a book too because
Yes,
he's from Philly.
he is.
So I've got to send him a free book. But I mean, I didn't know if Will Smith would like. I would love Will Smith to do it. He's one of my favorite, but I didn't know if he would get like the South Philly stuff, like the Italian stuff, and like the gangsters.
You know
I
what?
mean,
He was
I guess
driving.
he would.
Do you want me a good idea? I don't know how this works. This is just me just throwing this out there. Speak like you're talking about like nostalgia and how, and I think Holbrook, you said it a little earlier, how Philly's kind of making a resurgence in the movie industry, TV industry. I just watched recently in the last month the new Hustle movie on Netflix with Adam Sandler, which I can honestly say, and like I watched that with an open mind, and I really did like the movie a lot.
How was Chris Basile from The Nail in his main supporting role?
Yeah, I know. He if it wasn't for him, that movie probably would have sucked.
I've never heard of this young kid, Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
That's obviously the Chris Basile movie.
yes, but I will tell him this. He kind of like what you did with this book here. He grasped what it feels like. I'm not giving anything away with the movie because I would tell you to watch it if you have not seen it. If you even just don't even care about sports or basketball or anything. If you have anything to do with Philadelphia sports or have an idea how what Philadelphia sports is about, watch that movie because at the end it will make you go, "Yeah, that's so real. It's scary." It's not based on a true story, or maybe loosely, but it does have. It makes you at the end of that. At the end of it, you're like, "That was a good movie." Damn, it got too close for comfort.
Really?
You will say that.
Like BoJack Horseman?
I'm gonna have to check
Yeah.
it out.
It's like
I didn't
BoJack
see it
Horseman.
yet.
No, have you watched BoJack
That's a
Horseman?
new Sandler movie that
Yes.
you're talking about. Yeah, I
on
didn't see it
It's
yet.
on Netflix. So if you have Netflix,
I got to
you can
check
pay
it
for
out. Yeah.
It's only about an hour and a half or so. So it's like you're not like investing 8 episodes at an hour each.
Does it have a plot?
Yes.
Oh, so we're
Sold.
saying stronger than last call.
Just a hair. They don't go to the bucket enough.
Well, they lost me then.
They lost you. No, but they walk around there's a lot of the players on the team, different guys in the NBA. Dr. J makes all these guys.
Chris from the Nail.
Chris from the Nail.
Yeah.
And then they're in the Wells Fargo Center and the offices and at the practice facilities, and it's based in the Nail. And the guy who plays the player he's working with is actually an NBA player who got cut from the NBA after it was all said and done. But it is honestly a really good movie, and I know we're here to talk about your book, but I'm thinking of that for you. Like, that'd be like a great. I wonder how that platform works for people. Just like I asked you about the digital copy of the book versus what 2001 is now. I wonder, like, I don't want to say how easy, but how you would go about to find a production company who would take on the movie, and maybe not with the big time actors that we're talking about, but
I say we make it.
Yeah, I mean, Holbrook's pretty grizzled.
Well, I've been doing indie film or something, kind of independent film and small. I
know at Amazon Prime you can get on there. You can get on their thing I've seen some crap people put up on there and charge money for. So you could probably easily get up on there.
Well, there was a couple crappy South Philly movies in the past 10 or 20 years too that you saw.
Absolutely.
One was called Tent the Wolf. It was like a South Philly, supposed to be a gangster thing. I'm like, I grew up at Tent the Wolf. It was nothing about Tent the Wolf.
Well, we've learned from people who use the name to sell, but don't keep it to the nature of the story.
Right. So when we talk about it, I guess it was a decent movie, but when you talk about Tent the Wolf, it had nothing to do with it, So, but this has to do with, it's South Jersey, it's Northeast Philly, it's Center City, it's South Philly. And when Garden State Park burned down, he talks about that.
Okay.
Flashbacks to that.
How long's the book again?
302 pages.
See, that's awesome. That's a perfect size book.
And it's larger font.
I can't imagine, just this day and age, once again, I'm going back, movies are completely different. Sometimes movies would take 10, 15 minutes of the movie in the beginning to set up now. Now, if you don't start coming out with some sort of action to the plot line within the first, 60 seconds of the movie, you lose people. I'm guessing books are the same way. You got to come out swinging.
You got to catch them the first page. I think, but that's. I was an English major, so I learned that in creative writing classes in college and stuff. You have to catch them, and especially nowadays, if you don't hook somebody, there's a million things to do. So people are not going to read a book.
You're thinking Mason's going to be recurring.
A lot of people. Everybody's asking me for more Mason. Yeah. So
that's one thing, and I'm big on is character development. So in movies and series, if I like a character, I want to know more about them. I want to see, the process. So,
cool. Dude, it opens up with straight up fucking energy. The opening line is literally, I kicked him right in his boy pussy, then snorted a line of booger sugar right off the urinal. It was the best time I was at. It was the best time I was at Woody's.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Yeah.
Holbrook, I think that's what they wrote on they're going to write on your tombstone.
Yeah. So read the first line. So read the real first line.
The VCR's green digital display reads 3:11, and my eyelids weighed down. But it was one of those nights where, for some unknown reason, I couldn't sleep. My heels were on the coffee table, and I flicked through the channels once more, settling on some Discovery Channel show illustrating the outskirts of the galaxy. Then I kicked him in the boy pussy and snorted some booger sugar off the urinal at Woody's. It was the best Yom Kippur I've ever lived. Should we do the game real quick, Al?
Yeah, we got a few minutes left, so let's do...
So this is a game we play every so often. It's called Who'd Win. It's, head-to-head, two options, and the criteria of who would win.
All right.
And you need to know a good amount about the area.
So here's your first one.
Who'd win? Would you rather snort an unknown substance off the urinal at Burgundy or eat the maggot burger from the Stingers viral video? Have you ever seen the Stingers viral video?
I've been to Stingers. I like Stingers. I haven't seen the viral video, though.
A couple of years, just real quick, a couple of years ago, somebody got a sandwich, apparently the lettuce or something, I think it was a cheeseburger, had maggots on it, and maybe they didn't see it when they threw it on there, and of course the person looked at it, biting it, and found the maggots. And Stingers went out of their way to make things right, and of course they still went on to social media to blast them. So that was like a big thing. And people, actually, I would say more people came to Stingers' defense.
We came to defend them. We all remember the burger, though.
Yeah, but we all do, something like I said, no such thing as bad publicity sometimes. And the Burgundy is literally right next door. So my answer will be maggot burger all day, extra maggots, then snort anything off of anything at the Burgundy.
I'm
Even their
going to go with
doorstep.
Stingers because, first of all, their food's excellent. So I think if
Yes.
they doctored it up nice, hey, if you put hot sauce on anything,
Yeah.
it's good.
Except for whatever's over at the Burgundy.
Even if I thought it was hot sauce, I'm not trusting anything that
Yeah.
even says hot sauce over the burgundy.
I wouldn't snort anything that said the word Burgundy in it.
I can safely tell you they were the worst neighbors I have ever had.
Yeah.
I would also go with the maggot burger.
Yeah. All right. Next one.
Who'd win in a Delco bar? Or sorry, who'd win? In a Delco bar, would you rather spend 10 minutes arguing with a clueless person about politics or 20 minutes arguing with a clueless person about sports?
This is kind of a catch-22 because people are clueless. It doesn't matter.
Idiots are idiots. You
Yeah.
can't argue with an idiot. No
Yeah,
matter
but
what they're talking about sports or politics.
I would rather talk sports, so I would
But
go
I'd
with
rather
20
talk. I
minutes
hate
sports.
politics.
But
It's
for
such a
20 minutes?
Yeah, the extra 10 minutes because sometimes people. Here's the thing: is you can be kind of clueless and go, this guy's a bum because he had 2 bad days at the plate. No, he's not a bum. He just had 2 bad days at the plate. They'll argue that, but when it comes to politics, people are, so stupid and so stuck in their ways. Are unwilling. People. That is a time people are so unwilling to even. All right, let me see what he has to say. Let me see what he has to say.
They won't even
Give
listen.
it a chance to sink in. I think you have a better chance with that with Philadelphia sports. I'll go with the 20 minutes of sports.
Yeah, you can convince somebody about sports. So hey, I could throw out every baseball stat that there is.
And you can pull up. Hey, look at this guy's career numbers are right here. You can't do that with politics because there's going to be somebody contradicting everything.
What station did you get that from? Those numbers. Their numbers are wrong. But the baseball encyclopedia is not wrong.
I'm biased in this that I'd actually rather take the 10 minutes about politics because this question came up because I was at a bar and a dude was literally the traditional fucking Delco drunk scum, like older scumbag sitting there, arms crossed, which you would think this would be related to politics. But he literally told me that the Phillies have to get rid of Charlie Manuel because the team's sinking. Charlie Manuel's been gone for like 9 years.
He just said this recently?
This was Thursday. Al, next. Who'd win? Would you rather be stranded in Satanville or stranded in Trainer, Pennsylvania?
Trainer's pretty bad.
I picked it because you could say Chester, you could say Darby, you could say
But everybody
wherever.
knows Chester's bad.
But Trainer is like isolated, scary.
Like brother, sister, love.
I actually was in real estate years ago, and I showed a house in Trainer, and it was pretty scary just going around there to show a house.
I had to
A vacant house in the winter at dark, after 5.
I had to go down there to drop off a check for a client. I had to drive through it. I'm like, wow, this is literally industrial Satanville. I would rather be stranded in Satanville, Al.
Satanville. I'll deal with the monsters of Satanville and the monsters of Trainer. Their monsters don't ever go really away. You could do an exorcism to the Satanville guys. Here's your next one.
Actually, there's a couple of girls from Trainer probably in the dating book I have coming up, so you don't want to read about that.
Well, the good news is they probably don't have internet if they're in Trainer. Who'd win? Would you rather have a Facebook commenting battle with someone with a V for Vendetta mask profile pic or an angry pickup sunglasses selfie profile pic? Al?
I would rather battle with the sunglass guy. My reasoning is I can see his face. You're just putting that mask on makes you the biggest tool in the world. Just not that the guy with the glasses that you're talking about couldn't be a big tool, but the fact that the V for Vendetta guy, it just makes me go, you don't want to be Saul. You don't want me to take you serious. That's what I see when I see that.
And you can see the guy with the sunglasses is probably an idiot anyway.
Like, listen, your sunglasses ain't hiding you. You're not Superman. You can't comb your hair differently. I won't figure it out.
I'm definitely going with the angry sunglasses one because the V for Vendetta ones are usually just bait, like they formed to be preachy. The angry sunglasses ones are usually remotely serious, but they can fucking make you laugh. Like you can just reach in and be like, "This is so cliche." I love the ridiculousness. Would you rather eat an Upper Darby lawn mowing goat or a cereal bowl of Imperial Pizza crust dust?
So I'll answer this first. I actually had my first 2 Imperial Pizza in the last 2 weeks since we're working on the new studio. I've enjoyed it a lot more than I used to. So I'm eating a little crow with my pizza. With that being said, I would still want to eat the goat.
Have you ever had Imperial?
I am very picky with pizza. I mean, I'm a pizza connoisseur.
Where do you go?
Pizza in South Philly.
Where do you go?
In South Philly
Yeah.
right now, it's gone
Angelo's?
down a lot. Angelo's is probably the
Angelo's.
best one. Maris used to be the best one.
Where's that?
Like it was on Passion Avenue. They're in my book. Used to be the best pizza, hands down, and I just
How
feel like it went down a little.
far from Phillips?
From Phil Steaks,
Phil's, yeah.
Narducci's, it's like a mile. It's the other side. It's East Passion.
Oh, okay.
Phillips is on West Passion.
Wait, is it? It's 23rd and Passion. Is it East or West? Oh, okay.
That's West Passion. East Passion's this side. Angelo's is phenomenal now. Out here, I love Emilio's in Delaware County.
Actually, yeah, people love that. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever
been in a while.
I haven't been there in a long
So
time.
I would not eat Imperial pizza crust dust. I wouldn't eat a regular.
We call it
pizza
the
there.
beaches.
Right.
The beach.
I would have the lawn mowing goat from Upper Darby.
They do
I
look
would,
delicious.
I would eat that.
Yeah.
Do you know the story behind the Upper Darby lawn mowing goes?
I did not.
The mayor lost $6 million of tax dollars, so they decided to make up for it by spending $22,000 to have goats mow grass in a field.
Which you could have paid probably 1/10 of that to any landscaper to actually do the job. Right.
And fun fact, landscapers had to watch them the entire time, so they ended up paying landscapers anyway. And as a former landscaper, it could have gotten done in an eighth of the time.
Here's your last one.
Would you rather ride the SEPTA 113 bus for a week, nonstop, no breaks, except to go to the bathroom and food? Or would you rather get shot in the foot at Mixer's Tavern?
Shot in the foot.
I'll get shot if I don't like buses. I don't think buses.
The 113 for a week, I wouldn't survive.
I don't know when 113 runs, but
yeah, it doesn't matter. A SEPTA bus, if you're on there for more than a day, you'll probably turn into something wrong, get some sort of infection in an area you're not supposed to.
Okay.
Certain body parts would fall off.
I agree.
I'm going to go with, I'll take it. I can survive.
I'll get shot in the foot. I can't dance anyway, so who cares about my foot? You know?
Man, I've been to Mixers and I've been on the 113 a lot. I mean, you do just get shot in the foot.
Yeah, you can easily survive that. That's an in and out process at the ER. You don't need to stay overnight for it. I'll deal with that. Less time committed.
I guess I'd rather get shot at Mixers.
Yeah, it's less time committed. And that is it. Real quick, before we sum this up, I want to thank our sponsors. Let's start with Fat Cow Jerky. Check them out at fatcowjerky.com. Facebook, Instagram, great flavors. And don't forget the new canine cuts, canine treats coming out for you. Don't forget David R. Cherry at the cherryinjurylaw.com. Workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law, 610-565-0300. David R. Cherry is your man. And don't forget, guys, the Delco Masters coming up August 12th. The Putt-Putt in Clifton Heights. It is a huge event. Check it out. Come out. Go to delcolive.com right at the top of the page and sign up for it. Includes a 2-hour open bar at the the Delco Cup right down the street. And,
which is the Stanley Cup.
And don't forget to go to the DelcoTimes.com, the Delco Times, whatever you want to call it, and vote for us for the best comedy show as well as the best day out
for Delco Day.
So,
is there another sponsor?
And don't forget Dolan's Bar. Vote for them for your best favorite.
Damn straight.
While you're on there.
And Wolf's for best sandwiches in this area.
And Wolf's for best sandwiches because they're coming together and they're bringing Wolf's menu here to Ridley. So check them out.
So if you were on the fence about buying this book or not, the South Philly Review wrote a nice little article about this whole experience. And Kevin over here is donating $1.50 out of every book sold on Amazon through Labor Day. So you got about 6 weeks left. In memory of his grandmother who passed away in 1980 when he was 9. This is to the Muscular Dystrophy Association of Philadelphia, right?
Correct.
And $150 out of $9 or whatever it is. It's a good chunk, man.
About $350. I make about $350 out of a book, so I'm giving about half of it.
Making half of your profit.
Yeah, so.
Going to Muscular Dystrophy.
That's very cool of you.
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm actually doing a fundraiser for the Chichester Library too.
Okay.
On
They have
September
books down there?
21st. I'm
People can read
donating
in
100% of proceeds to the library. They have their $4 million drive where they're trying to raise $4 million for renovations and stuff. So that will be on September 21st. And whoever comes out that night will get a signed autographed book, and 100% of those proceeds will go to the library.
It's very cool, you guys. And so check them out on Amazon. And where else could they find you if they need you?
I'm on Amazon. If you want to buy the book, you can find me on Instagram at Mason's Philly, or you can find me on Facebook at my name, Kevin Sommerer, Sommerer.
Perfect.
So I know you didn't want us to give anything away, but it looks like here, according to you, made another book or another magazine called Philadelphia Row Home Magazine. And your next book is a children's book called The Cat and the Mailman.
Yes, because I'm a mailman,
Love
and
it.
it's about a cat I rescued years ago in a vacant house. And I just finished the illustrations on Sunday.
Is the cat still with us?
My coworker took the cat,
The cat's alive,
actually. So this was a lot of years ago. I don't know if I don't think the cat's still around anymore.
The
But
Cat and the Mailman.
All
but
right.
so
Adorable.
that'll be out before the end of the summer.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you
Dude,
very much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you
And,
so much. It was a
check
lot
them
of fun.
out, guys. And once again, I'm going to flash the book up on the screen before we go. Mason's Philly, Discreet Denial by Kevin Sommerer. Kevin, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very
That
much.
was awesome. That was awesome.